Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 45 of a-knotty-mess knitting podcast. I am so excited to talk to everybody this week. I feel like I made some good progress, but also just cast on a ton of things. Oh, I'll tell you about some of them. Well, I'll tell you about all of them, but I mean, I'll tell you why for some of them. I just did a cast on mania session. So I'm going to try to film all the way through. This is my lunch break. It's Thursday, June 13th. But also we have electricians here, and so the power may go out in my office. Specifically, but I'm gonna risk it. So if it does, I'll just lose the light for a second and I will pause and come back. But let's go through our knitting diary times, progress updates, and a finished object of this week. I do have an acquisition which was semi-unintentional, but I have a really great plan for it. So let's start with my finished object. I mean, I can't keep this cadence, but I really want to just finish an object and have one finished the week before and wear that, which is, oh, I should talk about this first. Wear the new finished object from the last week. So you can see them both off me and on me. Actually, Ariel's in this cadence right now, and I'm kind of loving it. Seeing her like just hold up, talk about the thing a little bit, and then talk about it more the next week. So that's what I'm going to do this week. But sorry, let's go back because I'm wearing a thing I finished last week. Today's What Am I Wearing features a Stripey turtle tank. This is my first knit from Emily Curtis's patterns. This is my first knit for the make along, which is Emily Curtis summer patterns. I am wearing the Stripey turtle tank. I love it. I'm going to give you all the details and then I'm going to stand up, and also just forgive me. Like, I'm wearing leggings today. They actually match in color. But like, I wasn't going to put on real clothes. You guys get me with some makeup and that's like quite enough effort. Okay, so let's talk about the size and stuff real fast for this. So this is a size 7. It is 44 inches. The intended or recommended ease is 0 to -2 inches. This is -3 for me-ish. I think I did take measurements. Let me check my Ravelry page in a second. But I used 3mm needles, which I think is the recommended size, but also I just used them the whole, whatever you do, the recommendation is just to use it for the whole thing. What I didn't talk about last week is I did use a quartz mess. So I'm going to talk about that this week for the armholes. This is Explore Knits and Fibers Denali sock in the colorway. Main color is linen, and these were what she put together as like her moody neutrals palette. I don't know. Don't quote me if it's moody or if it was just neutrals. Anyway, the neutral, it might have just been like neutrals and brights for last year's summer market, which was in July. And some of the Pacific Knit West gals went down and I put in an order. And Sylvan is my yarny godmother, as we all know. So she put in the order for me. And that is very nice of her. Sorry, I got a little interrupted by the electricians. Anyway, I'm making my way through my summer market yarn and I'm very excited about that. But like, I also have I bought a lot of yarn last year. Though you think I bought a lot of yarn this year, you did not. I mean, you guys saw me the second half of last year, but I'm telling you. Okay, that's fine. I'm just making my way through some of these purchases and, you know, things I'm excited about. So this is a bottom up tank top. So let's just talk through. I definitely put in some measurements in Ravelry because I made some notes for myself for the next one, because I do think I'll make this pattern again. I think I really like this. I like the size and fit. What I said before is like, there's a lot of tank tops that have similar silhouettes. And now that I have a formula, I like the gauge on this. I like the way the armhole depth sits. So I think I may just modify this pattern rather than buying other ones. If there's really special features of other ones, I'll still buy them. I love buying patterns, but this one I really like. Like, I think Ariel has an I-cord, a bunch of people have been making I-cord neckline versions, which is really nice. And I think I would want to just do like a slight modification for a next one to bring this into like not even a scoop neck, just like a less high in the front neck. One of the things I've been thinking about is like, what if I made this with just 2 color stripes? That would be fun. And then also So many dreams. Like a solid color of this would be so amazing. It sits really nicely like on the shoulder. I mean, I'll get up and show you this in a second, but like, yeah, I mean, and I could mod even the armholes. So the armholes are just a 3-stitch I-cord, but, and that's very easy to do. And I very much enjoy that with the Cordsmith, but like, I also would be open to making this, like some people, you know, I don't know if many people have done this mod for this, but like you could also just decrease a couple extra stitches and then pick up and knit like a ribbed so that it like has a little bit of like a more defined, maybe even smaller armhole. If I wanted to, I could do whatever I want. Anyway, I just feel like this is a great recipe. So, yes, I will stand up for you. Okay, I think we talked about all the things. I didn't tell you Denali stock is 20% nylon, 80% superwash wool, and it's a 2-ply, and it is 400 yards for 100 grams. Okay, and the colors, I know we've been over this many times, but I'll go through it again, is right here is Daybreak, this orangey brown, and then Trastevere, Rose Quartz, Chinley, and then Alto Stratus. Okay, so those are the colors, which is why I'm, oh, and I'll tell you about this thing too. So this is the Mezzo cardigan, and yeah, we'll talk about that after. But yeah, so these are my semi-matching leggings. Let me just move back an inch. So let's also look really fast at the shoulders. So here is my shoulder seam. It looks so nice. And I'll pull down a little bit in the back, like, oop, you can see in the back here, like it goes down. My bra's still covered. Every part of it is covered. I'm like not pulled down super far or whatever, but like, I think my armhole depth is okay. One thing I will say is like, maybe it's the gauge a little bit, like it's not floppy, but it's definitely like not sucked onto my upper chest. So like, I don't know, when I'm sitting, maybe there's like a tiny bit of a back gap, not in the back, more than in the front. Anywho, when I sit back down, I'll look at the measurements, but I did add length to the torso, not very much, just like, it was almost a full color repeat extra of length. So like 2 inches maybe. I did the twisted rib per pattern. Same with the top. I just did the same number of rows, I think. My final bust actually was 43 inches, measured just below the armhole shaping. So like the fullest part of my bust, because again, remember, I subtracted 6 stitches when I cast on, because, you know, we do what we want. I was just also not counting well, apparently. So my shoulder edge to shoulder edge is about 13.75 inches. And then my arm, and that's after I did all the finishing. This is after it was blocked. My armhole to the bottom of hem is 11.5 inches. And I think the pattern's like 10. So that's what I added. And then the shoulder to the first stripe of armhole shaping. So that's actually for me, like it's this Chinley line here. And that was just like the easiest way to measure on the front, because I knew that was the first line. Anyway, that's what I put in my notes, is 10 inches. So if you want it to like shrink up your armhole, this is just really good measurements for me in the future, because I can just decide to knit, you know, 4 less rows or something, or when I want to start the scoop, all those kinds of things. Okay, so I did the I-cord with the regular size Cordsmith, because I still don't have the mini. I never ordered the mini. Like it's not coming. I just didn't order it because I wasn't sure if I would really need it. I'm sure it would make the I-cord a little bit tighter, but I actually think this was like the most perfect like gauge for it right now. It's small enough, but it's not really tight. It's not like pulling it tightly. And I picked up 138 stitches. And like I said before, Emily's got sort of a recipe, and it was like 3 and 4-ish stitches. Some people, like you'll see a lot of people have put like they do 2 and 3 to make that armhole a lot smaller. What I didn't want is for like my sides or my bottom to be raised at all. So I was okay with it keeping like pretty much the size that it was. And I had enough yarn left over. I definitely could have done like 1 extra set of stripes, I think. So yeah, so here is my stripy turtle tank. Let's go on, and I'm really loving the neutral palette actually. I think it's great. Let's go on to my mezzo. I made this in 2021. This is also a Jess Copham from Make and Do Crew free pattern that you can get on her blog. Maybe it's also paid on Ravelry, but it's free on her blog. And I made this out of Lion Brand Kobu. I don't know the size. I didn't even look it up. I'm not going to tell you. I have no idea. And I used about 8 skeins, and the color is mauve, and it's not a great color for me, no, but I do wear it a ton. It goes with a lot of things. This is also a hexagon cardigan, so you make a hexagon 2, and then you seam them up the back, and then you seam them down the sides, and they make the sleeve, and then you add a bunch of stuff here. This one in particular, I think you add like all of this part. So where's my, so yeah, so I think you seam, it looks like I seam until here, and then I added like, 3 inches of cuff. Anyway, it's kind of balloon sleevey. It's very balloon sleevey. And it's all this puff stitch, and the puff stitch makes it heavy because there's a lot of yarn in each stitch. This whole thing is like pretty weighty, but it's super holey. So it's got like a really nice mix. And Kobu, it's a Lion Brand yarn. It's a DK weight. It's 232 yards for 100 grams. It is 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. And so it's like a very cool to the touch summer fabric or summer yarn. And I don't love this color a whole lot, but I do wear it a lot. And I seriously wear this thing like all the time. It's perfect for summer here because a lot of times it's breezy, but it's warmish. In the sun, you're hot, but like this is a great cover up for a lot of things. One thing I don't love as much is that just with the shaping of this, it's, I just did this a little bit too tight. It's actually crocheted, but it looks like it's a knitted little, it does look knitted. It is not. Button band type thing. And it's just, it was like too tight. So it's like flipping up a little bit. Honestly, it's fine. But this one is like the pattern is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I wear it a lot. That's all I have to say about it. I'm more interested in making knit cardigans in the future. I don't really see myself making more of these, but I'm glad I have 2 of them. And I probably wouldn't pick like I don't know that I would make any more, but never say never. So that's what I'm wearing. Sorry, that was like a lot of information for just what I'm wearing. Now let's talk about the fun things. What did I finish this week? I think I already showed you a little bit, but I finished my Sundial top, which is a pattern by Iris H, who is Iris Makes on Instagram and YouTube. She is running right now still a knit along through the 1st of July or until the 1st of July. And I need to post pictures because honestly, I just have been so inactive in the Discord chat. They've been a little bit less chatty, I think, than I expected. I have this one like very weird spot on here and I don't know. Oh, okay, I'm going to show this to you and then I'm going to go wash this later. I think this is just like I'm not sure what got on this, but it feels crunchy. So this is actually a spot. It's not like the yarn. There's nothing wrong with the yarn here. So I'm going to just wash that out. But I noticed it when it was drying. I was like, why is this spot white? Anyway, it's like a thumbprint. Like I wonder if I had something on my fingers or I was like adjusted it while I had like something on my fingers. Anywho, this is it. I'm done. It's blocked. Blocking other than that little spot looks gorgeous. This is the back. The back doesn't have any weird spots on it, so that's not so distracting. I think that some of those increased stitches did block out a little bit. I manipulated a couple of them that I thought were like really big, just so they're not as noticeable. I'm gonna wear this next week when I get rid of the spot, and I'm gonna take pictures in it next week too. I won't take any this week because I'm not wearing the right shade of lipstick for it, but that's okay. Yeah, so here it is. I really love the lines of this. I love the details. I do think, yes, you can still tell that I have 2 color sleeves, but I was talking to Mike about this, so not that he has any real knitting opinions, but I was just like talking out loud to him. And I did run, I used more than 2 balls, like the hem, actually just the ribbing at the bottom, and the sleeves. I needed the third ball of yarn. I could have done some helical knitting to give myself enough yarn to do the sleeves either helically or just with the main body yarn, but like, again, I don't really care. I did put it on and looked in the mirror and I was like, yep, don't care. So that's what it is, but I just want you to know I'm aware. Okay. So let's go over some details really fast. And then, I mean, seriously though, this cashmere content, that even that 10% makes like such a difference when you wash it. It's so soft. It's soft when you work with it, but it's so soft. And that is a size 5. It is 44 inches. Recommended ease is 0 to -3. That is -3 for me. It's a top-down circular yoke. It is, I use 3mm needles for the body, 2.5mm needles for the collar. I think those are suggested, but I didn't write that down, so don't quote me on that. I used Explore Knits and Fibers, Cashmere Caverns, and the Color Grapefruit, also gotten from last year's summer market. So there's 2 projects with that yarn done. And that's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 435 yards for 100 grams. And I just like, yeah, I like it a lot. I don't really, like, it's not a color I probably would have picked on my own, but we are doing like another Pacific Knit West group knit with that. So I think me and Ariel are the only ones that are done. And then Sylvan and Katie and Emily, I think all got yarn. And so we'll all sort of, you know, some of us or most of us will match eventually. The one that everybody has is Pike Place. And so that one, I think we're nearly all done Pike Place knits, which is very exciting. Although Aviana is casting on. So she did wind up her yarn though. So we're very excited to all be matching at Flock. Okay. Let's go through. That's all I have to say about that one. I'll wear it next week and we'll talk about fit and stuff. It is fitted. It's very cute. The sleeves are a good length. Overall, I'm very pleased with it. So let's talk about another Iris H pattern. So this is a test knit and I am really trying to get done this. I did a lot, more than I expected. It's as much as I put in my goal though for the week. So that's good. I added about 5.5 inches of body to my Hayley sweater. So this is the Hayley sweater in testing by Iris H. It is a top-down V-neck all over cable work sweater in a DK weight. It's super scrumptious. I'm really enjoying it. And I have now about 10 inches of body done. This is the estimation of body length on this is a little bit long, and it's definitely, partly it's fitted. Well, for me, it'll be fitted. So it's so hard to tell until you block it and all of these things. And I don't know if I'll block first and then decide if I want to continue in length. I think I want at least 13 inches of length total. So I may start doing my, cuff hem a little bit early. You know, she just puts, so as a lot of patterns just should, you know, knit until our suggested length for you in the chart in the back. So that's really what she put in the pattern. So I consulted the measurements, and just for my size, the length is a little bit long. Let's remember, this is gonna be high in my armpit because it's very fitted. It's like fitted sleeves. So I'm gonna need more length than whatever this is, 10.5 inches, right? Like I'm gonna need at least 12, maybe 13, but I don't know if I want it to hit a whole lot longer than this. Like, even though it is a full-length sweater, and that's still like maybe a tiny bit cropped on me because my hips flare out so much, I don't really want it to be super long. I'll be wearing it with jeans. It's going to be a Christmas sweater, so I also don't want it to be short. I don't know. I'm gonna do some measurements. I'll try it on. Maybe I'll try it on before I connect another ball of yarn, and I can kind of make an estimation from there, an approximate like number of inches to add. What I do think for blocking, I don't think it's going to block longer at all. I think it'll block out a little bit. So I also don't want to lose any length. But I'm really excited. So this is a size 5E. It's a 48 inches. Recommended ease is +1 to +4 inches. So I'm just on the lower end of that. This test is due August 11th. I used 4mm needles for the body, but 4.5mm needles for the sleeve, and 3.5mm needles for the ribbing, even for the sleeve ribbing. And this is Cascade BFL in the color 09 Red, which is 100% BFL wool, and that's 262 yards for 100 grams. It's very, it's super bouncy. It's very woolly feeling, though I think it's going to definitely soften up when I wash it, and I think it's going to bloom quite a lot too. It just feels so stretchy. Like it's got so much stretch. The memory in this is great. And you can kind of, here, let's see if we can see anywhere. It's going to be hard to tell before I block anyway, but you can see like these diamonds are very close in size to the body diamonds over here. They might just be a tiny bit bigger, but when I did this sleeve in small circumference needles with the 4mm, these were like so tight. Like the whole thing just felt so tight. And I can't do it. So yeah, here we are. I am really excited. I just really love this color. I can't wait. I'm gonna knit like 8 red things. So yeah, good amount. Oh, here's where I was. This is a really gorgeous progress keeper, by the way. This is Hello Lavender, and it was like one of the accent ones that came with, my like desert moon one. That has like the little desert scene from the summer's in stock update. And so I just love it. I think it's so fun. So I put that one on here. Look how much, that's like a lot. That's a lot of rows. I may be done with this week. No, it doesn't need to be done this week. Yes, I have other things I need to get done maybe a little bit faster, but also like, it's not, it just feels now like that I've got it on the needles again and I'm working with it like a couple nights a week. Like I want to be done with it because I want to have it. I'm not going to wear it a lot right now, but I want to have it and I want to have it done. I want to have time for pictures and blocking, and if I do need to make adjustments. Let's move on. Moving right along. I think the next one is my Market Henley, which has been my desk project this week. I've been just working a lot this week, so not a lot of knitting time during meetings because I haven't had that many meetings, but getting in a row or two feels meaningful for this, and I'll talk about why in a second. So this is the Market Henley, which is a test knit for Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted. It's a drop shoulder waffle stitch Henley. I am so excited to have this, but right now I'm struggling a tiny bit, and I'll tell you why. It's just like, it's the stitch pattern. I mean, that's the whole spoiler alert, but I'll show you in a second. So this is the 52-inch bust. The recommended ease is 4 to 8 positive inches. I am using 3.25mm needles for the body, and I think the recommended needle size is a 4 even. It's 3.5 or 4. I had to redo because it was too big, which is fine. I think it looks like a good size right now, and it's going to block really beautifully. This is also Explore Nets and Fibers, Denali sock in the colorway Flock, which I got a Flock last year. It's 80% Superwash Merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards for 100 grams, 2-ply. I love working with Denali sock. I like find it it's very pleasant to me. I like 2-ply though. I know some people are like, have really divided opinions on it. I like working with 2, 3, and 4-ply yarns. I don't really love working with single-ply yarns. Sometimes I don't like working with things that are like 8-ply or things that I feel like are extra splitty. Okay, that's my opinion. What's yours? Does anyone have a favorite? Tell me below. If you're like a super like diehard 2 or 4-ply, like I want to know why. For me, I've just never found something where I'm like, ooh, I hate that so much, other than like that blown tube yarn that I hate very much, that I used in my Skyline. Okay, here we are, Market Henley. I love this so much. I really can't wait for it to be done. I did the collar this week, which means I got my last buttonhole in like up here. You do it on like the first row after you join the collar. I think that does help make it look polished and like it's gonna get finished sometime soon. But I only added about 4 inches to the body. Oh Lord. Here is my Flock 2023 stitch marker from Oh no, I'm all twisted. From Hello Lavender. It's so cute. Those sheep are so cute. She's making special ones this year too. I can't wait. They're going to also probably have the different sheep, the sheep from this year's logo. But, so I added a good amount. Here's my thing. Partly because I'm knitting this helically, so that's slightly irritating. This is not a hard stitch pattern to knit helically. Yes, you can knit in pattern helically. It does not make any difference. Yes, but what's getting me is that there's a lot of, actually once you join in the round, there's a lot of purling because the waffle stitch pattern is knit 2, like if you do it in the round, it's knit 2 rounds and then it's purl 2, knit 1 for 2 rounds. And it's just a lot of purl stitches, and I don't like purling, but I also don't want to wear my pin for an interrupted stitch pattern because I don't like knitting Portuguese style. And like I could just fudge it, but it feels like a lot more hand movement, and that's like what I don't want to do. So I've just been doing a regular, like I do like a flick sort of forward motion purl stitch when I do it like regular continentally. I don't have any purl stitches right now, so I'm not going to show you. But I don't know. I feel a little like, you know how I know that I don't really love this stitch pattern is that, and I think I'm going to love it so much doing it. Maybe it's just like, it's a big body, it's fingering weight, it's a lot of stitches. And I just, because also the waffle stitch, and yes, it's going to block out and it's going to block a little bit longer, but it just feels slow because they shrink up a little bit. I just need to suck it up. But how I know is that I'll start like scrolling once I pick this pattern up. Like if I pick this knit up and I'm sitting upstairs, or I'll start like scrolling a little bit on my phone. And that's how I know that I'm not enjoying the knit as much. I think that's the only reason. I mean, like I really can't wait to wear this, and I like the idea of it. And it's a really good pattern for being slightly interesting. And normally I like that, but I think, you know what? It's going to be better this week because I think I just had 1, 2, like I have like three other projects that are like a lot of mind thing, and I wanted something even less focus needed. And so this one takes like just that 1 ounce of brain power that I was like, I don't want to work on this. So I did cast on a couple of other things, but my goal for this coming week is to knit another 2 to 3 inches and then start a sleeve so I can kind of get a grasp of what I want to do for sleeves. What I might do for sleeves too is and I think I'm going to helically knit them, so that's also annoying. But what I think I'm going to do is knit until looks like a very funny block right now. Knit until I approximately want cuffs, and then I'm gonna block the whole thing. Maybe not. I might just like wing it. I don't know. We'll see. But I know this is gonna grow. That's like, I'm very, very aware, and I don't want to make it too long, but I also don't want to err on the side of like, oh, I don't want it to be too long and then have like weirdly short everything. So we shall see. But I'm really loving it. I'm loving it in this color. I'm loving that it's just sort of like a little bit of pop and texture in this very fun. I love variegateds in a stitch texture because I feel like you get a little bit of extra interesting from the color. Okay. Anyway, that is my Margaret Henley. Let's talk about, I'm going out of order one thing because I didn't bring my Theo blanket down, but I'll go get it. I'll take a water break in a second. This is the Versa Shawl, which is a test knit also. I'm in test knit land. I literally have so many going on, which I know. You don't have to tell me. I already know. And this is a pattern though by my good friend Bridget. She is BZB Knits, and I say BZB Knits, but it's like, I mean, I always think of it in my head as Busy Bee Knits, but there's no U, so I don't want to tell you that. But also her last name is Zhou, so BZ. And it is a Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's so fun. Okay, this is a 2-color brioche triangle shawl this is the middle. So like, let's not get all thrown off here on shape and sizing. This is the middle. It's not going to be too big. This will block kind of nicely too. And when I'm done this side, I will cast on in the reverse so that this side is going the other way. So it'll look like this, you know, you'll have the contrasting, which is why it's called vice versa. And this is where I was last week. I had just basically cast on and done like one or two full repeats of the pattern. I am now in the midst of my decreases. You only decrease on one side. I do want to do some micro striping with this hot pink on this black side, and so I am going to do that. I brought it to Knit Night and we had some discussions about it, and Katie had a very good opinion that everyone was sort of like, yeah, that's what you should do. So I know approximately where I'm going to do that, and I've got several repeats. I would really like to get a very big chunk of this done this week, just so I don't let this one linger. I also, yes, brioche grows a little bit slow because 2 passes makes 1 row, but like there's not very many stitches, so it goes pretty fast. Like I can finish a repeat pretty quickly, which feels rewarding. So in this game that we play called What Will Keep Me Interested, this is a good one right now. And here's my confetti yarn over here. This is called Sparkle Stardust, this yarn type, which is so fun. So let's talk about that. I'm making size 2, which is going to end up having about 106-inch wingspan. It's 20 something inches down, or 17. It's not super deep. I'm using 3.5 millimeter needles, which is what's recommended. I am using sock yarn. Sport is recommended, but Bridget and I talked about it, and also she picked out this yarn, so I'm just using sock yarn. I am using Heritage Sock in black, which is from Cascade. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's 437 yards for 100 grams. Then I am using Moondrake, this is my first Moondrake Co. yarn knit. I think so. I have some Fua Fua that I purchased when we were at Spin Cycle in October, and I haven't used it yet. So, but I do think I don't think I bought anything from her booth at Flock last year, but she'll be there. Anyway, this one is the Le Mercerie 3rd birthday colorway, which is called Birthday Cake. And again, this is Sparkle Stardust is the base. It's so fun. It is 80% superfine merino, 15% nep, 5% stellina. It's 410 yards for 100 grams, which is like slightly an odd weight, but I think it's just like the neps and stuff affect it. It is a little bit sheddy, the stellina, which is kind of fun. It's like so crazy. But the stellina in this is not like a long, I have not knit with other stellina, so I don't know if they're all like just short strands that you add in, but like this is rainbow stellina, so there's all different colors in here too. And then it has rainbow neps, as you can see, and it's just so fun. The mini, I did look it up and I put it down. It is her MSN mini, so it's merino silk nylon, so it's 60% merino, superwash merino, 20% silk, 20% nylon. 20 grams for the mini is 96 yards. So that's a little bit lighter too. I actually was wondering that when I did this, because this feels it does feel a little bit silky, and it's got like such a nice little stretch on it, the hot pink. Okay, I'm going to continue on with this. I'm very excited. If you don't follow Sylvan on Instagram, I'm not telling you that you have to or anything, but Sylvan just made a dress in this Sparkle Stardust birthday cake color, and it's fabulous. And I told her when I'm done my shawl, if you do want to borrow it for an event where you go to date night with your Sparkle Stardust dress, you can have a matching shawl. It's so cute though. Okay. I had to let the dog out of my office, so I just went up right now to get the Theo Blanket, and let's talk about that one. So this is called the Theo Blanket. It is a pattern by TL Yarn Crafts, which is Tony Lipsy. She has a lot of really amazing patterns. Some of them are free, some of them are not. A lot of them are on her blog, so you can get them for free. This is the crib size blanket. It is 6mm. I'm using a 6mm hook, and it's various acrylics, mostly Pound of Love, but also some other things. I am making progress. Like I said, I don't want this to just be lingering forever. So I have, I don't know if there's a front and the back. Like, honestly, they look the same to me, so. But, I have, so this whole thing is going to be 4 full color repeats, I'm pretty sure. So, this very little one here, I did the second one this week, and then I started the third, and obviously it grows a lot each pass, so I'm hoping to get done the 4th this week, and then honestly, I mean, sorry, I'm hoping to get done the 3rd this week. I'm gonna try to do a little bit more than that, because I mean, it's not like they're not even amounts of work, right? Like, this one did not take me very long. This took me a lot longer. The 4th one's gonna take me forever to just like get done. All of those passes take forever. But, and then I have to do a border, and I really do want to get this out like ASAP. But I'm obsessed with the colors. I think it's so cute. Like, how fun is that? It's so summer. This is so fun. I'm really into it. So this is for baby Lennox, and I am like really excited to. I didn't show her mom the colors yet. She just said, I don't care, surprise me. Which is fair. Honestly, I thought I'd have a lot of opinions, even like, obviously I made Theo's, but like at that point too, I mean, we were very different circumstances, but I was also like, I don't care. I'll just make her blanket. Like, she's a baby. She's not going to care. But I hope that baby Lennox really likes this. And so, it's a nice, like, it's going to be pretty lightweight. So like, I think it'll be a good seasonal thing. They're in Denver, so they get real winter and real summer there. Let's see. What else do I have to talk about? The Daydreamer. This is the last one that you saw last week. And then I have 3 new cast-ons. 3. Yeah, 3 of them. Okay. The Daydreamer is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, who is Dre Renee Knits on Instagram and YouTube. And I'm making the size 1, which is a 40-inch bust. Recommended ease is 6 to 12 inches. This will be like 8.5 or 10, something like that, for my sister-in-law, Lauren. I am using 3.25mm needle. I used already for the ribbing, 3.25mm needles, and 3.5mm needles is what I'm using for the body. I did not gauge swatch, and this is what's recommended. And I did gauge measure in pattern, the part that you can measure in pattern, and I'm good. So we're good. I'm like pretty dead on, actually. And this is I'm using Knit Picks in the Aloft base, which is their like their mohair, which is 72% mohair, 28% silk, 206 yards for 25 grams. And their palette yarn, which is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It's 231 yards for 50 grams. So a fingering weight and a fluff. And in the color Penny Royal. And Lauren wanted like a soft lilac color. She and I are, you know, we actually look color, like skin tone wise, like pretty similar. She is half Japanese. I am half Korean. But our undertone is a little bit different. I don't know that I would wear this color necessarily, but I actually think it's going to look really fabulous on her. Okay, I'm a little bit inside out. Hold on one second. Okay, so I am 2/3 of the way through through chart, the main chart once. So I think I have like 4 more rows, and then I'd be done the chart 1 time, and I have to do it like 3 times for the body. So you know, it's not bad progress, but I have to tell you, it takes a really long time to do a row. Every other row. but every other row you're cabling, because these are like in that Sorry Turtle Dove shawl. These are just like moving knit through the back loop stitches, and there's bobbles, and that's like much less of an annoying thing. But these honeycomb stitches, every other row you swap the stitches every stitch, and so like it's 20 stitches wide, it's 10 right or left twist stitches. And I didn't even try it, but like it would go a lot faster if I did like a real right twist stitch instead of like an actual cable, which is what I'm doing. I'm doing a right 1x1 cable or a left 1x1 cable. Maybe I'll try it because I think that would go so much faster. It's slow, so slow. I actually don't mind it, but I just like, I can't do it super late when I'm knitting, and like I do need to focus. Like it's harder for me to do while watching TV, because like we've been watching The Boys and I need to watch parts of that because like crazy things are happening. And I can't. I need to be like looking at every one of these stitches. So I feel about it. There's no deadline for this, but I do want to get it done relatively soonish. Definitely before the summer's over, so I can get it to her and so I can start my mom's field day cardigan. She's not super tall, so I'm gonna like do some math too to make sure that that body's not gonna be too long on her. It is a cropped thing, so even if it sits a little bit more full length on her, I think it'll be fine. But I maybe could kick out 5 stitches, 5 rows. I don't know. But yeah, I'm actually, these bobbles, there's only 6, I think. 3 across the front, 3 across the back. And these bobbles are really fun to do because she does a half double crochet bobble, and it takes way less time than a normal bobble, and they're so prominent. Like, look how up that is. Yeah. And all of them look that way. Like they don't have any hidden ones. They're all like just up nice and out there. So that's how I feel about this. I really do like this color. Actually, it's like it's a cool enough purple, but I don't know. I'm not like a lilac girl. Maybe I should be. Okay. So that's that. Let's move right along to new cast-ons. So I cast on 3 things this week. I'll do them in order of cast on for us to talk about. So the first one I cast on is my color tip tee, because I finished this and I want to knit more things for my knit along with y'all. So here I am. We did do our call on Sunday and it was really lovely. We had a few people join, and just like, it was so nice to meet people and talk to other people who love knitting and talking about yarn things. And that's so fun. And I was working on this during the call and got actually quite a lot done. And we will be doing another one. We'll do one in July. And I want to be several weeks before Flock, but after the 4th of July. So I'll put out another date in Discord for people to do a vote. And then we'll just join the same way we did last time. So this is where I am. I am done the back panel. I did all of the increases to the sleeve holes, and now I am ready for a pickup. It looks really little, but I think it's mostly just because it's super curled. Yeah, that's about my armpit. So I'm pretty on gauge. I did do a gauge swatch, but I did not block it because this is just for me. And I can always add length if I want to once I get to the armhole joins. I am going to make an adjustment on this, even though this is my first color tip tee, because if you look at the pictures, which I'll have just put up, sorry, this is a color tip tee by Emily Curtis, Gently Chaotic Knits, who is Emily Curt on Instagram. I put the picture up here that it is a rather high neckline. You know, it's a little bit different of shaping than this, but it still probably sits like maybe like here. Like it's pretty high. I think I want it to be slightly more scooped in the front. And so I talked about Sylvan, who is the tech editor for this pattern. And Emily does a really nice thing. So for the front, once you pick, she tells you what to pick up for stitches, and then every size gets like a little chart in the back that just has like, you know, if you straight knit the stitches or you do neck increases, because I don't even know what you call this, just for set and sleeve. Sometimes you do like just neck or neck and arm or just arm. And so that can get very confusing. So to be like written out row by row. So she just gives you a chart. So you just like, you know, check it off as you go. So I asked Sylvan if I could, you know, in theory, I feel like that's what makes sense, but I wanted to make sure, like, once I pick this up here, can I just do some extra neck straight stitches or straight rows before I start the neck increases, which will make this piece of it longer, and then you start the neck increases at the same cadence and stuff, so it still has the same nice roundedness. It's just going to be a little bit later. And she said, yeah, that's exactly the modification she would tell me to do. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm really excited. I love this yarn so much, Knit Up. It's so fun. It's so fun. Okay, so this is Junie and Sai. I'll show it to you in the skein. So this is Junie and Sai. They are local. The dyer, she's local to Seattle area. I can't remember where. It's like, it says on her website, like Snoqualmie maybe. So she's just like across the lake. This is called Learning to Fly. It is her fingering weight yarn. It's 462 yards, 400 grams. So it's a light fingering. 75% wool, 25% nylon, and it's superwash, and it's a 3-ply. Also, this is like a very cute, tight little skein. Okay. But here's what it looks like in the cake. Let's just hold them all up next to each other so you can admire this like yummy goodness. You can't always predict exactly what's going to look like, but you can tell. This is like a super variegated yarn, which means the cake is going to look like, it just looks kind of like chaos. Like there's just like every layer of, from the ball winder, like looks like a different color. Like even the side just looks different. And here it is in the fabric. Like hold on, I'm like holding so much of this skein. Okay. Like I'm not surprised that this is what it looks like, but I am very pleasantly happy with how spread out everything looks. I am helically knitting, as in I have 2 balls connected. I'm very excited to have this all over. And I really won't know if I'm still not going to know probably till I have most of it done, whether or not I'm going to want the cuffs or the collar. Probably not the collar, but maybe the cuffs, maybe a pocket in another, like in a solid tonal, like color tip. But I also just may not. I think like this would be amazing all by itself. I'm really pleased with how it's coming out. So that is my color tip tee. I would like to finish it before flock. That's about the only deadline I have for that one. And let's talk about what size that is. That is a size 6. It's a 52-inch bust. Recommended ease is 4 inches positive. And so I think 3.25 millimeter needles is what's recommended. And I like the fabric, but I'm not that close to gauge. I'm definitely a little bit tighter. And I think that's just because this is a light fingering, you know? And so when I did I like measured the gauge swatch. I did some math. I want to, and also I'm not doing, the shoulder recommendation for the 52-inch bust. No, the shoulder recommendation for the 48-inch bust is closest to my shoulders. I don't have broad shoulders. And so, for the 52-inch bust, like I could do 48 inches and then increase to the 52-inch bust, but because my gauge is a little bit off, I actually think it'll be closer to the 48-inch bust period, which is why I decided to just knit the 52-inch size. So I have enough stitches. It's going to be a little bit narrower than the 52-inch for real. Once we block it and stuff, like I might be just like kind of in between the 2 sizes, and that'll be fine. It'll be fine for me. It'll be okay for me too if the shoulders are just like a smidge wider than sitting like right at my shoulder. Like because I'm going to make my sleeves a little bit longer. Like all this is fine. And this is what we're doing. I did do a swatch, like I switched my swatch halfway through to a 3.5 millimeter needles to see if I would like that better. But I thought the fabric was like a tiny bit like gappy, and because this is a superwash with nylon, it's not going to bloom as much, and I didn't want it to just be gappy. So I was like, I like the fabric that's coming, like that's happening with this, so I'll just make a size bigger, because I probably would have just made the 48-inch bust, even though that's less easy than recommended, because that's what I like. For a t-shirt, I don't know. I guess I like t-shirts both a little bit fitted and sometimes not fitted. Just depends on the style. This one, though, I'm not going to mind it being fitted. Let's go to my second cast on for the week. And this one is also sort of an acquisition. And so I will show this color first. I am doing a sample knit. This is a sample knit for Jess from Witchfire Fibers. It is a sheep camp sweater, which is a pattern by Jennifer Berg, who is a native knitter on Instagram. And I have always really loved the look of this pattern. It's really fun. And I've wanted to make one. I've heard a couple of things about sizing for it being like, it's just like maybe a little bit awkward. It's pretty boxy. So I wasn't sure if I would make it. But anyway, Jess posted a sample call on her Instagram a couple weeks ago. And I just messaged her and she was like, yeah, you got it if you want that one. And I was like, fun. I did not know what was coming until I got it in the mail. Like, I knew what pattern and I knew the weight of the pattern, right? But I just like didn't know what colors she was gonna pick. I can share these because these are all released colors. I assume that means that she's bringing some of these colors to Flock because this sample is gonna be at Flock. So I have until the 20th of July to finish this. I'm not worried about it because I know it's gonna fly by. For two reasons. One, I'm going to be so excited about getting this color chart done, and then it's not very much until you split for sleeves, and this yarn is pretty squishy. The color's amazing, and I'm just gonna, I know I'm gonna just like want to like knit on it so fast. So this is called Light It Up. This is from the Mask Made Me Cry collection that came out this spring. I'm still waiting for my yarn from the Mask Made Me Cry collection actually, because I ordered a mini pack, which means I got like all the colors. Mini packs are always last, and so I'm gonna be in like the last group of people to go out. But so I only have this, I think will be coming in my mini pack, but I love this color. It's so good. It is, and it's gonna be hard for you to see right now because my camera in here, like the ring light I have pulls a little bit warm. This color is like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's sort of a gray tinged white, but it also like has this like vibrancy that makes it like, it is a little bit yellowy. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just like, it's white, but it feels like so bright. And maybe that's why I think there's like a little bit of yellow. Like it just pulls bright. It's a bright white. It is a color based on the Crescent City series, which is great. And so is this one. So I only caked this one up. I already caked this one up. So this one is called Through Love and is also like, they're both like Danica colors. Okay. And so if you haven't read those books, then you know, you have to read them. You should read them. Two colors I love so much. Anyway, this is so fun. It's so bright. It's so lovely. It's like not even just showing up. It's neon-y. And it is a pinky orange. It looks like pink right here, but maybe you can see better in the actual knit. It is an orangey. A pinky orangey color. Here, let me pull there. I already love it. Okay. So I am making size 3 for the sample. And it's, oh, sorry, the yarn. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the yarn. Not only do I love these colors so much, but this is Jess's Classic DK base, which is 100% superwash merino. And it's 231 yards for 100 grams. And it feels so plump, but it also, you guys, it's so soft. So when she sent it to me, they were unbanded because like, why would she send me bands for them? That would be crazy. But I also didn't know which base it was. And I was like, well, she has 3 DK bases. One of them is tweed. One of them is cashmere. And one of them is just 100% superwash merino. And I seriously, you can look at our Instagram messages. I was like, hey Jess, I'm just checking, like, this is the cashmere DK, right? And she was like, no, that's my classic. And I was like, are you joking? It's so soft. It is seriously, like, it feels so luxurious. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun making this. This is like very, very fun. All around, a really fun pattern, a really fun color to work in. I went with, you know, after consulting, I'm doing a rolled neck for the size 3. I need to switch my needles out like very soon because it's already getting annoying to me, like how scrunched it is. But yeah, I'm 15 rows into a 60 row color chart. I should be done with the color chart this week because I can't put this on. Like, I just was like so happy knitting on it last night, reading books. Yeah, I did all of this, like, you know, I don't know, just in an hour and a half or something like that. So, and there's like a bunch of increases inside of this color chart, and I'll like triple the size of neck band by the time I get, yeah, so it's going for sure. I'm really excited, and I just haven't decided yet. I am likely not going to catch floats. I think that's going to be my decision, just because the underlying color is that white, and I really just, like, I don't want to risk having a bunch of like weird orange pokies. And because it's a top, like, it's unlikely it's just in the chest. Like, if she does put it on, she's not going to get stuck. So, it's probably fine. And that's probably my decision. For her, I will lengthen it just a tiny bit, and because she's built like me, long torso, itty bitty legs, and so we are kindred spirits on that. But yeah, so I'll make the torso a little bit longer, but probably keep the sleeves those sort of like 3/4-y, like whatever's recommended sleeves. I'm super excited to try this pattern out and see if I like it. What do I have next? Oh, okay, so the last thing on my needles is something I cast on. Actually, that's out of order because I really cast this on hours before that one, which I cast on Tuesday night. This one is my Ever After test knit. So this is my second test knit for Claire Jackson that I'm in at the same timeline, though this one is not due until September 1st. I anticipate that I'll be done with it actually around the same time or before the Market Henley. I should probably make it a goal to be done with this after the Market Henley and just get the Market Henley done. But this is a worsted weight pullover. It's got like it's a super basic drop shoulder pullover. I think the shaping is really lovely on it, and it's just going to be like such a nice pull on all the time sort of sweater. I am making this out of basic worsted from Erin at Backloop Yarn Co. called Wild Terrain, which is like a pretty old color for her. Something I got her to dye it for me last spring. It is like a really cool gray purple background with these like chestnutty accent variegated pieces. Anyway, I'm really liking it. Actually, I just think it's gonna be so lovely, and I think it's overall gonna read like, yeah, a speckly gray purple. It's got like some really dark, almost black, really dark purple bits in it too. I am also helically knitting this, as in right now, 2 balls of yarn on one side back and forth, but it will be helical. And that one, and this yarn is 218 yards, I think, for 100 grams. It's 100% superwash merino. I am making the size 54. The recommended ease on this, I don't have the pattern up. And honestly, I started my project on Ravelry, but I didn't write my notes in my Monday board, so I can't tell you. But I think it's something, you know, 6 to 8 inches or 6 to 10 inches. And so 54 is the size I'm doing. I'm really, like, so this is the short rows. Short rows are now done. And like you can see, over here, like, you know, I don't have any other rows done. So I have to do approximately this same, is so curly when you do that, approximately the same number of rows, like this number of rows here, again, for the back panel. This is a similar shaping to the Market Henley, in that the back panel sits sort of more on your back arch, and then you pull over. which I think lends to nicer neck shaping. I don't know. Like, I think that's just like more of the style now, rather than having it like try to be here, because really you want to be able to shape this whole part of your neck. So it sits back a little bit further, and then it is just like the back of where the collar would sit. And so you have to pick up, you know, that is why. Anyway, I think. And I'm really excited. Knitting something in worsted is really fun. Also, this DK that feels very plump and luscious, like I needed that. I've been knitting so many fingering weight things, and I love knitting fingering weight things, but like the variety is the spice of life, as they say. And that's all I have on. And no, I still haven't cast on my moon set. And yes, that yarn has been on for 2 weeks. And yes, I need to do that sooner rather than later. But I'm gonna focus for the next 10 days at least on these projects I currently have. I don't think I'll cast anything new on. Even if I finish something, I'm just going to try to decrease the overall volume of knitting left for all of these. Actually, I take it back. I may cast on one new thing, but it's another sample knit, and it also has a deadline, and I also I don't have the yarn for that yet. So if I get it in time next week, I'll cast it on, but it's actually probably not going to be until like next weekend. So that's what I have to tell you. Let's go through acquisitions, because there's only one thing other than this yarn I got. Oh, and something that's not yarn. So I told you about these last week, and I did get them in the mail, and they got not lost, like they got stuck on a truck in California. So I really did think I was going to get them last week, and then I realized that the USPS thing was not updating because they were just bopping around somewhere in California, and they finally made it here. So this is Rosie and Ray is the new brand of polymer clay jewelry and stitch markers that Erin is from Backloop Yarn Co. is has created. And so here, let me just move them all out of the way. Here is like her summer like sea creature collection. So we've got coral, a conch shell, a starfish, a sand dollar, and a little, I don't know, those look like Ariel bra shells. But they're really fun, and these are closed loop, just like jump rings, so I'm gonna just be able to use them as like regular stitch markers, which, you know, I'll like so often I've been using like the little light bulb clips for those, but I really like to have my BOR be something like more exciting, so I'm excited to have a couple more. And what I don't like is like I don't want, like, when they're heavy, and I have a couple that I bought like early on in my knitting process, especially when I was doing like super bulky hats, that both the jump ring is a little bit bigger, like thicker, and they're also kind of heavy because they're like at the enamel things. These weigh almost nothing, so this is gonna be perfect, and I'm gonna throw them on a couple of things this week. Okay. Next. Yeah, I bought a ton of Berg yarn. I bought it from somebody who stopped dyeing. She, like, I don't think she was just like dyeing for herself. Anyway, she's not dyeing anymore. And this is all 100% Peruvian wool. I'm assuming that means it's non-superwashed, and it's 459 yards for 100 grams. It's fingering weight yarn, and it's like 9 skeins. And I like it a lot. And it's super basic, and that's great. I've already talked to, okay, so here's the tentative plan for that yarn. Maybe I'll start using it this year. I need to not just throw this into my stash. But if Ariel has time, she's agreed to like gray dye that for me. So it's, again, a less yellowy shade of natural. Oh, maybe that's a good... Yeah, this is a good way for me to show you like that this Light It Up is not just natural color. Like it's... let me change the fluorescence on this a little bit to be more real. Okay. So like you can kind of see, gosh, you can really see it live. It's hard to tell. This does have like a little bit of a yellowy cast to it. And this has this like glowy, gray, brighter cast to it, the Light It Up. It is still hard to tell. It's hard to tell on camera, but like live, I can totally tell that this has like some sort of like gray undertone. Anywho, that's what I want Ariel to do for me. Not that color, but like just a slightly less yellow background. And then I will work on what I'm going to do for the other colors. But the intention for this is for a Stella quilt blanket, which is a pattern that's coming out by Laura Penrose. Same motifs or similar motif style as her Stella quilt cushion, which is different than a sweep shop because it's like the star, like you make it in stars and then you join them together, however you're going to join them together. So as opposed to the sweet shop blanket, which you like, build in squares for the whole thing, you do the Stella quilts as squares. Maybe she'll write up a way that you can do it all together all at once and join them, and like, but also it would be so nice if you just had squares to accomplish and then you sew them together. I don't like seaming together, but it's like, there's 12 of them or something. Like, it's not that many motifs. And then I think she does have a border. Anyway, I knew that blanket would take like 1 billion skeins of yarn because it's DK weight. So I'm going to hold fingering double probably for it. And I may need more than that, honestly, but this person who was getting rid of this was at a very discounted rate. And so it was like free, basically. So I purchased it. Anyway, I'm hoping that pattern comes out in July and that I can get that started this fall. I'm not going to finish it probably, but it'd be like a really nice, like fun, smaller thing to accomplish. As I still have to do my heirloom quilt cardigan, me and I like the quilt squares. Okay, I just do. So let's talk about books really fast and then we shall be done for the week. So this week I read a few books. I finished Bitterblue, which we talked about last week, maybe a little bit. It is the third of the Graceling Realm series by Kristin Cashore. I just got today Sea Sparrow, which is the fourth and maybe final, but also I think she's still writing them. So hopefully not final. I'm loving this little realm. I think it's so interesting. This Bitterblue is about Bitterblue, who is a character in the first book, and this is like 9 years after the first book happens. And remember, second book happens in another realm, sort of tangential to this one, 50 years before. And so this one, everybody does come into play, both characters from the first book and the characters from the second book, but only like minorly the characters from the second book. Anyway, so it's mostly about Bitterblue, who is... She was 10 when she became queen, and it's like her, like, trying to unwind the bad things that her dad did to the kingdom. And it's really interesting, her self-discovery, like all the things. She is not a graced character, so she doesn't have any kind of special power, but she's constantly surrounded by them. And so that is also really interesting. Like, if you're the person in power, but there's these like other powerful beings, like, how do you live in the world? You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. There is a lot of intrigue. There are people working against her. Sort of. And so, yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was like heartbreaking and so good. And yeah, I just really liked it. The fourth one, I read the fourth one right after, which is called Winterkeep. And this is a new land that kind of, I'm going to say it's like 5 years after Bitterblue. And they just like offhandedly are like, oh yeah, and then there's this other land that discovered that we were nearby. Like, they just hadn't explored off continent, and the new continent is now involved, and that's where this whole intrigue plot happens. And Bitterblue goes because something fishy is happening, and she goes to Winterkeep. I'm going to tell you this because it's a spoiler, but also like it's very hilarious. This is just one part. Bitterblue, I mean, the whole point of this is like more intrigue. There's a lot of like political machinations happening in a new political court system and things like that. But Bitterblue falls off of the boat on the way there. And as she's in the water, all she keeps thinking to herself is, everyone is fired. Everyone is fired. Why are they not turning around for me? Everybody is fired. Don't worry, she doesn't die. But it's very hilarious. It's like the most sad and hilarious part of the book. Okay. Then I read An Ember in the Ashes, which is a book by, it's the first of the same name series, by Sabaa Tahir. It's so good. I really liked it. This is also a really interesting, like, Maybe there's gonna be more magic than I know about right now, but right now in this series, it's like, it's about a conquered kingdom and the conquerors. So you get a perspective of one of the people that's in the conquered kingdom and one of the conquerors. And it was 500 years ago that this happened, but they're still an oppressed people. And the people who are the conquerors are like very militant. And so you're kind of like, you're in a war college school situation, and you're with one of like the enslaved people. It's really interesting. It's really interesting dynamics. What is really nice is there is definitely a buildup of like a romantic arc, but not just one. And the complications are real and kind of talked about. Like, it's not just like, oh, we're enemies to lovers, and so like our lands hate each other, but we love each other. It's like, no. Like, this is like dangerous, and a lot of mixed feelings, and a lot of, other things. So I thought it was very good. I will read the other ones, but I also, the other, like 2 weeks ago, filled up my requests list from the library, and so I'm just getting dumped books right now, and they were all like 12 weeks away, and now I just have a ton of books. So I'm gonna just read through like probably the first of a couple more series, and then I'll go back to the ones that I want to read. But I am reading, speaking of, I got the so I got the first of the One Dark Window, which is the Shepherd King series. I don't know if this is a finished series. I think there's 2 out. And it's by Rachel Gillig, and I'm very excited to get a little bit further in. I'm like maybe 30% of the way through, and so far so good. It's very interesting. It's about a realm that is cursed, and there are these cards that give power, and there's also some sort of infection that gives you magic but takes away like your life force or years of your life or your sanity, I think. And so mostly those infected people get killed by the king. And there's like prophecies, and there's a girl that has like a demon maybe living in her head. It's like a whole thing. It's very interesting. It's like it's an interesting take on magic. Excited to see how I like this. It's a lot of people. I've gotten like this recommendation from 12 different people, so bodes well. I'm still reading The Ashes and the Star Cursed King, which is the second of the Crowns of Nyaxia. Eyeball reading is so hard for me. I just fall asleep immediately. I'll get through it eventually. The Path of Daggers also is the 8th Wheel of Time book. Still reading that. I only put in like an hour this week, and it's because I'm not spinning right now, and it's my spinning wheel book, but I need to do both of those things. And then I'm about halfway through Happily Never After, which is a Lynn Painter book. It's a modern romance. It's very cute, and it's cute, but it's also like very cynical. It's like a person gets her wedding crashed, but her best friend paid for her to get her wedding crashed to call out her cheating husband or husband to be, and then starts doing this for other people, being like a wedding crasher, but like not like a known wedding crasher, like one of the two, somebody close to the bride or the bride or groom are the people that are calling it off. Anyway, that's what I have for books. So a lot of cast-ons, a lot of even upcoming projects I've got like coming very soon, so I need to get a lot of knitting done. Great news here is it's Juneteenth next week, and so I'm not working, and I will leave my house because Mike is working and let my mom still work herself with the baby, and I'm going to knit outside of my house for the day and just relax and do that because Mike is gonna be gone all weekend long, and so I'm gonna just be solo parenting. And yes, my mom is around, but I try to give her the whole weekend, and so I'm taking this extra day for me. It's okay. And I'm actually taking Thursday off, so I probably won't film until Friday, but Mike and I are going to go watch some LPGA golf. They're having a Masters tournament here in right outside of Seattle. And we're going to go watch Nelly Corda and others play golf. So we're doing that all day Thursday, and then I'll film Friday, but I'm also taking off work so I can just like do some other stuff around the house in preparation for having to just be the only parent for the weekend, because Mike is going on a golf trip, which is going to be so fun with his dad and his brother, one of his friends. So yeah, that's all I have now. I've got tons and tons of knitting things coming up. I want to know what you've been making, knitting. It's not too late to join the knit along if you want to. Discord link is below. Oh, the one last thing I want to tell you is I did have my meeting with Trisha from Yarn Jam about the fiber that's going to be a-knotty-mess fiber. She's going to be dyeing, and it's gorgeous. The prototypes are so lovely. She's doing one more round of testing, color testing for me, and then we'll be all set. And I'm like, I love all of them. Like, she gave me some very different options, and they're all so beautiful. I know the other podcasters that are involved, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited to we get closer to release, and so everyone's talking about it, and for you to see all of the colors. It's so fun. Okay, let me know what your summer knitting plans are, what yarns you're enjoying, all of those fun things below. If you want to message me on Instagram, please do so. Yeah, and you know, if you have any other questions, let me know. I will say I had such a great interaction this week with one of my followers, Sophia, who she just asked me if I could help with a pattern question. So I started looking at this pattern, and it was like pretty involved. And the answer was she was correct and the pattern was actually wrong. And so it was a Sari Nordland pattern, and it was for the Poet Tee. And we were thinking of different ways to reach out to Sari. And like, she's one of those people that like, I don't think she doesn't probably check her DMs. She's just like so popular. But I did put a comment on her latest post for the Poet Tee, and she went back and looked at the charts and realized that something just had got missed. It's tech edited, it was tested, but like the wrong chart was put into the final pattern, and she corrected it like within hours. And so thank you, Sari. That's so awesome. But also like, what a thing to do this week. That's what I got to do in the knitting community. It was really it was fun to do. It was fun to look at the pattern, and it is now something that I will make because the charts are correct and it looks like such a lovely knit. It's the Poet Tee that recently came out. So that's all for me. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one. Bye.